So video game movies have a bad rap, but let's be honest. There's a lot of bad movies out there, and Tomb Raider already had two. So I went into this expecting it to be at least decent, but was really hoping to be blown away. In fact, I had written a script in my head for this is the one that breaks all the video game movies.
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing
Tomb Raider. And you know what? I'll save the script for another time. To be fair, I had a bad night at the movies. The theater I went to had problem after problem. I had to sit through the first 15 minutes twice, and that was in through three theaters. But overall, this movie has its flaws. The same sort of flaws you expect from a video game movie, to be honest. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I even got to walk away with some free swag. I'll just pretend that's because I'm an awesome reviewer VIP. But like I said, I went in really wanting this to be solid gold. But it's not. It's not even Electrum. This is silver. Almost copper level. Alright, let me tell you what I do here. I review stories as they come up. Movies, TV shows, comics, novels, you name it. And then I break them down, and on Sundays I do theory videos on how and why we tell stories. And then I do Throwback Thursdays for older stuff. If that sounds interesting, click subscribe. This was the beginning of her hero's journey, and somewhere in between a man in a hole and a Cinderella story. There's a lot going on, and before we even go into the spoiler stuff, let's just throw a few things out there. This is an action movie, and as such, the character can take more damage than a Sherman tank. I mean, realistically, if you took a Delta Force agent, the best recon marine ever, and a Navy SEAL, and put them through half of what she goes through by the time she gets on that island, they'd be all dead. Now, to be fair, that means that they would have taken about a tenth of the damage John McClane does every time he goes for a walk. In and of itself, that doesn't take me out of the action, but this time just the whole way they did it just didn't feel that well deserved. Not that it's the first action movie to have that problem. And then there's the fact that just the whole flow, the narrative itself, just didn't seem to click with me. It felt like I was being beaten over and over with the same exact problems and storytelling issues that I would normally fault a B movie or a TV show for. Like, seriously, someone did not do their research on how laws work, how London works, how anything works. Without giving too much away, because I'm still pre-spoiler here, I can honestly say that if you were a rich person and something happened to you, you would have things set up in your will, and that your teenage daughter would not have to sign for you. It doesn't work that way. And the entire there's an entire caveat, I guess minor spoiler, that she wants to prove what happened to her father. She doesn't believe he's dead, or well, he might be. But she goes out of her way to not use her money, his money as she puts it, to look for him. Because at the end of the day, she's just... No, not just her, everyone. Every character in this movie are two things simultaneously. They are hyper competent to the point of almost being a superhero. And on top of that, they are completely ridiculously stupid when they make certain decisions. And I don't just mean, oh, they got blindsided in an area they're not familiar with. I mean, like, they literally made a choice only because the writer wanted them. But I will say choreography, the fighting was good, the action was good. And if they had changed the character's last name from Croft to Jones and had Harrison Ford do a cameo, this would have been the third best Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, that's right. You can guess which one of the other two I put as worse. But okay, I think I've done enough explaining why this is only a silver, almost a copper. Let's get into spoilers.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Ba-da-na-na.
So this is where I normally start with the setting and then play some music. But to be honest, they don't really establish much. Okay, so there's Croft Manor, that's some richest place, and there's this island that's kind of uncharted, and in this modern day, how do we do an uncharted island? Oh yeah, and then we just have a helicopter fly to it at the end because, we realize the fact that this island isn't that unchartable. Ugh, modern day. The setting is modern day. The characters are more or less forgettable. Yeah, we have Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider. And yeah, this is supposed to be the beginning of her badass journey. But to be honest, she's already well trained in everything and is really good at everything. And then there's this guy. He's kind of interesting for like a minute. All right, let's get to the plot. The keep going plot. Okay, the plot's pretty straightforward and mostly linear with a handful of flashbacks. Laura's father has gone missing 7 years ago. She's grown up now and has decided that rather than declare him dead, use his money to go find what happened, she'd much rather have to go pawn something he gave her, the last thing he gave her, and then go search. Oops, also found out that there's this whole mystical problem and that magic is real and there's an organization that he needed to keep from getting this stuff, and he tells her, whatever you do, burn my notes. Don't let the bad guys get my notes. So what does she do? She brings the notes to where he was. I get it, it wouldn't have been a movie if she actually did what she was told, and protagonists causing their own problems is nothing new in stories, but it just felt more than a little rushed, and like this could have, the whole plan could have gone over an extra edit step. And on top of all that, they kind of waffled back and forth on the whole, is it magic, is it science, and they ended up with something that was crappy at both. I'll go more in depth in this complaint later, but basically, at the end of the day, if it's science, then it's really, really bad science. If it's magic, they needed more budget to make it magic. Yeah. Alright, so, whose point of view do we follow? 3 guesses. The Tomb Raider. Although this is where this is going to be slightly positive. Laura is compelling. The actress can hold your interest. She can play off the fact that she is both physical and intelligent. And she can sell that she's actually in danger in several scenes. So, as much as I was complaining, I have to say, she makes an interesting action hero. Theme and symbolism. Symbolism and theme. We're almost done. Alright, let's get through this movie. There's some rebellious themes. There's themes about missing your family. There's lots of action. And symbolically, she's searching for the father that she... Alright, this isn't a very thought-provoking movie. It's an action movie. So, next, good, the bad, and the ugly. I know it sounds so far like there's nothing good, but that wouldn't be right. The good is this is a fun popcorn flick. Our 2 main characters, pro and antagonist, both are fun on screen, although he chews the scenery a little bit. He even has a few terrifying moments. You do generally feel for Laura, and again, she's the hero of this movie. You get to root for her. It's fun, and the action's good. And while none of the puzzles or traps made me sit there and go, ooh, wow, none of them made me sit there and go, this is a redo. So, kudos. Way to go. Now the bad. Alright, the bad is that this is a video game movie that very much showcases that it's a video game movie. And in fact, I could have watched a playthrough and hadn't been slightly more entertained, probably. We really didn't get all that much time invested in any of the characters, even Laura, and it just felt like they just threw things in to be like, look, in the trailer we could put this item that she has in the video game. And again, I wouldn't go into this movie looking for any in-depth. Finally, the ugly. The ugly, alright. The ugly truth. This movie was written poorly. The story has pacing issues. They obviously want to use the rule of 3 with this type of scene, where they show her learning how to do a chokehold and get out of a chokehold, and for it to be meaningful in the end, and it's just not. It falls flat repeatedly. And even though the action's good, and the action is good, it just showcases the fact that this needed another edit. This needed another pass. This needed a bigger budget. And the final thing, the real final ugly is, Supernatural, is it real or not? Alright. Everything leads you to believe that there's this magical curse, and they try to justify at the end that it's not a magical curse, it's a disease. The problem is let's take a few seconds to think through how diseases work. If it's fast and deadly, it's not virulent, because people die before they pass it on. If it's slow and lingering, then there's a chance to survive it, and medication is going to help. You know what doesn't happen? The fast-spreading, super deadly, kills you within seconds of being infected disease. I don't care how many carriers there are. That's not going to become a world plague. That's at most going to kill a couple people. And that's not even counting the fact that something that would kill you in the Middle Ages would be treatable today. I mean, we have all sorts of cures, and doctors, they didn't. And where at every turn magic would only make sense with why fate was bringing Laura here, the truth of it is that there was no reason, and she caused most of her own problems, and she ended up getting away without actually helping anyone, including herself or her father. And when he turned up alive, there is literally a scene when the bad guy has a gun to his head and says, if you don't tell him to open this door, I'm going to pull the trigger. And at this point, the bad guy honestly believes that the only person that can open this door is her father. And Laura sits there and goes, I'll open the door because I can't watch my dad die again. You know, super competent Laura doesn't even take a few seconds to think, wait a minute, you can't shoot him, because then you don't win. You lose if you shoot him. He is not your hostage, I am, you idiot. And maybe the worst sin of all is that this wasn't even a quotable action movie. There's no scene that stands out. The quote that sticks in my head right now is that villain saying over and over again that he had no one to talk to on an island full of people who were working for him and people he were keeping as slaves, so lots of people he could talk to. And even that, for 7 years, they kept this guy trapped on the island so that they could say, ha, you can't leave until you find this. Or you could just, I don't know, bring in more experts and, I don't know, equipment, to like x-ray, and just, this plan was not thought out at all. Not the bad guy's plan, not Laura's plan, not Laura's father's plan. In fact, not the script. The script was not thought out that well. I can hardly wait to see Cinema Sins. Ding, 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 ding. All the plot holes in this movie. But then, I still kind of liked it. It was still fun. And again, it kind of reminded me of the good Indiana Jones movies. And there was part of me that liked seeing Laura kick so much ass and have the little axe tool and the bow and arrow. Even if at times I didn't think she made the best decisions. But I'm curious, when you see it, what do you think? Can you defend it against these problems I've brought up? If so, please do. As I've said before, every movie, every story has merit, and we can learn something from it. So help me learn something here. What did you like about Tomb Raider? And then help me out and like and share this video. And of course, if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button, because this is an ever-growing community, one where we can examine the good and the bad of storytelling as we try to figure out how and why we tell stories like these. And when we do that, we'll get a little closer to the heart of the stories we tell. I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.